Hey, 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 everyone!
I'm Matt.
And I'm Becca.
And this is Becca's Book Club Adventure. I recently finished reading Skylark, the Dragon Lady by Emily N. Madison, and today we're here with a super short bonus episode to see if I can convince Becca to read it, maybe to help you determine if you should read it, and then I'll give you guys all of my final opinion because I did read it.
But as always, we have to thank today's sponsor first. Well, in honor of the seasonal gaslighting we call spring, today's episode is brought to you by April Showers. That's right, April Showers, for when your vibe may say sundress, but the sky says emotional support hoodie. Pairs beautifully with muddy shoes, continuously telling your dog it's going to be okay every time they hide from thunder, staring out the windows like you're Kermit, and questioning whether the sun will ever actually exist again. Side effects may include wet socks, accidental mud facials, accidentally starring in 90s music videos while you walk down the sidewalk, and the prophesized May flowers not arriving because they died in March. Use as directed by your pathologically lying weather app.
Well, as I was saying, I just read Skylark by Emily N. Madison. It's a pretty short book, something along the lines of 240-ish pages. It was originally published in 2022, or 2022 for normal people. And I think that this was the author's debut novel. I think I mentioned to you that I started reading it once upon a time, but other than that, have you ever heard of it? Do you know anything about it?
I know absolutely nothing. Yeah. Unless this is the pirate book you've been talking about, and then all I know is it's the pirate book.
This is the pirate book. I'll paint a picture for you. Interrupt me with questions, whatever. Okay, so our main character, Belladonna Skylark, is an orphan.
Love the name.
Her parents were both slaughtered by the evil pirate lord Cornelius Blackfoot. So she was taken in and raised on the high seas by good pirate Captain Starling.
Okay.
But Blackfoot is back. A little more about Belladonna. It's a great name. Belladonna is a beautiful, somewhat shy girl with deep red hair because they all have awesome red hair. And she's just 16 years old when her ship is attacked by Blackfoot. And it's like a pirate on pirate melee, right? And I say her ship, but it's actually Captain Starling's ship, right? Belladonna hides away from the carnage for the vast majority of the battle, but then for some reason, she decides to surface from her hiding spot and finds that Captain Starling, her pseudo-parent, her mentor, whatever, has been mortally wounded in the battle. In her final breaths, Captain Starling tells Belladonna some shocking truths about her and her parents, passes the captaincy of her ship to Belladonna, again, 16, and relates a prophecy to her.
Oh, shit.
So, throughout the journey, right, throughout the book, we learn that humans live unknowingly amid a battle for metaphysical and celestial control of the universe. It's a battle for peace or destruction, depending upon whose side you're on, between the Dragon Majestics and the Demon Claws.
Okay.
Demon Claws look to undo what is, while only the Dragon Majestics have the power to defeat them and allow the universe to exist in peace and harmony.
All right, we've got our good and evil.
And Captain Starling relates a prophecy that essentially says that Belladonna Skylark is the key to the puzzle of everlasting peace in the universe.
It's a lot to put on a 16-year-old's shoulders.
Yeah, so thankfully, we suddenly skip a couple of years. So now she's 18, which still a lot to put on an 18-year-old shoulders.
We're going to skip a
And
couple of years. Can we skip to 25? But anywho.
So we follow Captain Skylark and her crew on the ship called the Zodiac as she embarks on a journey of discovery both in her heart and soul, as well as on the high seas. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Obviously, the book is like 240 pages, so like if I say much more directly, I might spoil some things. But I'm totally willing to ask questions that might have come to mind.
Okay, so we've talked the pirate side of it, but the book is called The Dragon Lady. So is that Belladonna? Is that the original one? Is this the Blackfoot person?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so in this book, there are 0 dragon shifters. And you do not encounter any dragons.
This gives me intrigue, actually. So it's the part of the story where we find out the parents are slaughtered and she's on this boat. Is this like the first 2 pages kind of shenanigans where like the captain's like retelling the story? Okay, that's a good way to start.
The first sentence of this book is essentially Belladonna hiding from the battle that's raging on the decks. Like, it drops you in.
Okay. And this magic system, is it elemental? Are there rules to it? Is there a magic system?
There is a magic system in the world, but within the book, we do not come across any magic wielders.
Okay.
At least we don't come across any magic wielders that know that they are magic wielders and or know how to wield their magic.
And is this book a series?
Yes, I did recently find out that the second book, the follow-up, came out in the fall of 2024.
Okay.
There is a prophetess, so prophet but female. She's very Caribbean. So you can almost think of it like they describe it as she's a hoodoo woman, but like she's able to commune with the death. She's able to the dead. She's able to see the future. She's able to tell people things about themselves. That kind of magic.
Okay, well, I'm in because I love Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's giving that vibe.
That's a very good vibe to be getting because apparently Emily Madison, in her like acknowledgments or whatever, says that she's been obsessed with pirate fantasy ever since she was a very young girl when her father took her to see Pirates of the Caribbean. I hesitate to say a very young girl because I'm trying to think of how old. How old were you when the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out? Do you remember? That was like 2000.
Very young.
I think she said she was like 10 or 11 or something like that when that movie came out. So younger than me. But yes, it's Storygraph says that this book is great for people that love Pirates of the Caribbean, people that love Percy Jackson.
I'd say I'll read it. I don't know that it's high enough on my TBR list that it needs to come sooner rather than later, but I think this is a bit skewed because my Libby app just told me I am up for Onyx Storm.
Whoa. Okay, well, yeah, you're definitely gonna have to hit that. Man, I gotta read that shit.
Yep, I delayed it because we gotta finish Crescent City, so I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yes, well, I purchased the second Crescent City book, and it should be arriving within a few days. And the first thing I'm going to do is see how it's laid out, and we're going to chunk it up, and we're going to devour that mother. So, well, I'm glad you want to read it. I definitely want to read the second book, but I think I'm more interested in reading the second book because I'm more interested to see how this author developed. Because This Skylark book that we've been discussing was her first published book, period. And I did not rate it super highly on Storygraph, mainly because I felt that the writing style, the narrative style, the pacing, all of those kinds of things are extremely amateur. And like, that's also kind of a hard pill to swallow because we've been reading Sarah J. Maas for forever. And I've also been taking side trips with other great fantasy authors. And it's not fair to say that a story is crap just because somebody's writing style is a little green. I do think that this book has all of the elements to make a great story, a great series. And I'm very, very interested to see where this author's, how she has matured or grown.
Well, and much can be said with like the Harry Potter series, right? The first book writing style is very different by the time you get to the final book with the growth an author can go through. Also, yes, as a young green author, I appreciate that the first book is in the 250-page range, because I just tried to read a book that honestly has lots of good reviews to it, but the first half a chapter I read, I was like, this has some typos, some writing errors, some stuff. And normally, like, I read through typos normally, but I DNF'd that book already. Because it was 600 pages, and I was like, I can't do 600 pages of this. If it had been 200 pages, I would have persevered.
Yeah, I get conflicted with page count, because like if I'm Tor or Penguin Books or whatever, I don't want a huge investment in something I don't know that's going to give me a return. So like the lower page count makes sense. But then like I'm like, wait, but you have editors, and your editors should be able to read things and tell you if you're going to get a return on this. Because when you have a good story, like one of the worst things you can do is rush it. Like for example, with the Coven that we talked about in a previous episode that I did start reading because you convinced me. Amazing story. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I wish there was more connective tissue between events.
That's true.
Like not a lot, but just give me like 100 more pages spread out across the entire book and interspersed. And I think it would be damn near perfect. Like up on a tier with Sarah J. Maas or the fantasy books by Stephen King or Terry Goodkind or anything like that. Just a little bit more connective tissue for the narrative. Anyhow, but I do agree with you. For the very first book, nothing could be worse than a shitty writer that goes on for 800 pages. But yeah, so that's Skylark, The Dragon Lady by Emily N. Madison. I'm very, very curious if anybody watches or listens to this. Have you guys read this? If you have, like, what do you think? Is my take good? Obviously, I'm not going to spoil this book for Becca. So there's probably a lot of things that I could have said or whatever that you might agree with or disagree with, but I didn't say any of those things. So let me know what you thought. Drop a comment, drop a review. Let me know if you think it's worthy of your bookshelf.
And you can email us at bookclubbybecca@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Becca's Book Club Adventure, all one word, all lowercase. Just leave a comment or a review for us.
And if you do, we might feature you on next week's episode.
Speaking of which, next time on Becca's Book Club Adventure, we'll be finishing House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas and reading chapters 68 through the end.
So, until next time, keep reading them books and don't let the rain get you down. Thanks for listening.